Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Natural Love palette by Too Faced. This did come out a while ago, but I got gifted this for my birthday and I wanted to review it for you guys because this palette is hella expensive and I just want to give you guys my opinion whether you guys should get it or not. So if you're interested in learning about my opinion on this palette, also on this demo and some swatches, then just continue watching. Okay, so this is what the palette looks like. Very, very beautiful when you look at it. I know. This palette is $93 in New Zealand. $93 for 30 shades. You can get this off meccabeauty.co.nz if you live in New Zealand or in Australia. What I love about this palette is that the packaging is so beautiful. I think hands down it's one of the most beautiful packaging for an eyeshadow palette ever. The Natural Love font is actually in velvet and you can feel like the bumps of the trees over here and how it has that gold reflex in it. It's just so stunning. So in the box you do get this little booklet where it just tells you about the Natural Eyes collection. You can see it in 2009 they came out with so many different ones, like the evolution of the Natural Eyes palette, yada yada. And it does just give you eyeshadow looks. I was gonna do one of these eyeshadow looks today, but none of them really screamed out to me, so I just did what I wanted to do and this is what I came up with. That is all the product info. Let's go on to my review. So first off, like I said, the packaging is so stunning. I love how it comes with a mirror. Looking into this palette, I would think that I would like it. I think these shades are beautiful. They're very neutral, very natural shades. But once I really got into playing with this palette, what I noticed, and especially with a palette this big, you would want to create a lot of looks with this. This is a look that I probably would just want to grab, travel with. It has a mirror, has beautiful shades. I want this palette to allow me to create so many looks with it. But when I was playing with this, I don't know, I feel like this is kind of a miss for me just because when I see a palette and what I look for in a palette is a good portion, an even portion of matte and shimmers. And with this palette, you definitely don't get that. You get a lot of metallics and shimmer shades. There's 7 matte shades in here and there's 30 shades. I just feel like in a palette you have to have like half at least, or a little bit more mattes than shimmers, because realistically you are going to use a matte shade in your transition, and for the transition shades you get honey butter here and then you get nudie here, and I just feel like these two shades are a very light transition. They're both very like cool tone. They do pull gray on my eyes. I mean, it's cooler to have it there, but then have another option where it's a warmer transition. And then the other like matte shades are like very light. I don't even know what I would use that for. I would use Heaven to set down my eye base. Makeup and Chill, I was like, oh my gosh, at least they have a dark chocolate brown. But no, this really does pull gray on me. It like pulls very cool tone, and I'm not really feeling this shade selection. It's not a palette that I would just take this on its own and create so many looks with it. The way I would use this palette is just grab like one shade from here with using a different palette, you know what I mean? Because they have some beautiful shades, but as a whole palette, if I'm reviewing this palette on its own, it's something that I wouldn't grab. I think these shades are beautiful, but as a whole palette there is just too much shimmers and metallics that it doesn't work out for an everyday wear. I think you could do some natural looks with it, but if you want to go all out and you're like a glam person like me on the daily, then the formulas are okay. I don't think they are the best. After using Colourpop's and Morphe's formula, it's a very high standard for me now. And using this palette, it's good, but it's not the best. And for the price, I'm like, I think it's a great gift. Like, I got gifted this, I think it's great, but it's a palette I wouldn't go out to buy, and I wouldn't recommend you guys going out and spending almost $100 on this palette. I love the shade called Hot and Bothered, which is all over my lid. I love the shade here called Fairy Tale, which is in my inner corner. These are shades that I will come back to this palette to use, but it's not worth buying this palette just for these specific shades, you know what I mean? There is a lot of K-cup when you use this palette. There is fallout when you use this Fairy Tale shade here, which you guys will see in the demo. These shimmer and matte, I don't think they are that pigmented. You have to wet your brush to get like a decent pigment on your eyes. Like, I'm always gonna refer back to the Jaclyn Hill palette just because the price point is the same. With the Jaclyn Hill palette, if you guys watched my video, when I used the metallic and shimmer shades, I didn't wet my brush and the pigment was there. If you want to go an extra mile, then go with your brush, but for you to wet your brush initially to get a good payoff, that's when you know the palette's, you know, not as great. So for the pros, I think these shades are beautiful. I love the packaging. I love how it has the mirror. I like how it has the names on the palette. But for the cons, these shades do pull very cool tone. They pull gray on me. There is not enough mattes in here to create a variety of looks. I feel like this is a palette that I would just take one shade with another palette. Overall, keeping all of my cons and my pros in consideration, I am gonna rate this palette a 4 out of 10. I know it's a very low rating, but I do feel like that Too Faced does pay attention to their packaging a little bit too much compared to the formulas of their product. I think this collection came out with those heart-shaped highlighters, like the Prism one, and I heard a lot of, I guess, negative reviews about that, how it wasn't really good at all, but the packaging is amazing. I just feel like Too Faced knocks it off with packaging, but the product inside doesn't just match up with the packaging, you know? I think they should spend less time thinking about the packaging and think about the product inside. But then again, I guess most people who do buy Too Faced, like their newer collections, are kind of getting it for the novelty of it, like how the packaging looks. You know, skip on the packaging. Like, you can make it look pretty, but you don't have to go that extra mile for it. I mean, I appreciate it, but I would prefer the product inside to be bomb, just as pretty and beautiful as the packaging on the outside, you know, just like humans. But yeah, that is my review. Let's go ahead and get started with the demo and also the hand swatches. First, I'm taking the shade Heaven, and I'm gonna be using this to set down my primer. For my transition, I'm going to be taking these shades Nudie and Honey Butter on my Sigma E40, and I'm going to put that into my crease just to get a good blend for the darker colors that we're going to place later. Taking a clean blending brush, this is the Morphe M573. I'm just going to use this to blend out any harsh lines and also the edges as well. Now I'm going to be taking the shade Makeup and Chill on a Morphe M433, and I'm going to put that all over my lid, blending it into the transition. And then using a wet brush, I'm going to take the shade Hot and Bothered, and I'm going to put that all over my lid. I am so obsessed with this shade specifically. It's like my favorite shade in the palette. And for the shimmer shades, I do feel like you do need to wet them to get some good payoff. I feel like if you were just going straight in, it would take a really long time for you to build it up. So definitely wet your brush first and then go in with the shimmer shades, and that way you'll probably get the most pigment from them. And then I'm taking another wet brush, and I'm using the shades Honey Pot and Fairy Tale, and I'm going to put this on the center of my lid because the shade Hot and Bothered had a little bit of gold reflex, and I just feel like putting this on the center of the lid is really going to bring out that gold a little bit and just to make it a little bit more interesting. And now I'm just using a makeup wipe to wipe off the glitter and any fallout, and also going to clean up the edges a little bit. And now I'm going to be taking the shade Makeup and Chill on my Makeup Collective number 11 brush, and I'm going to put this on my lower lash line. And then I'm going to be adding some kohl liner to my lower lash line. To highlight my brow bone, I'm just going to use Heaven, which is the shade that we use to set down our eye base. And then to highlight my inner corners, I'm going to be using Fairy Tale, which is one of these shades that we use on the center of the lid. I think just putting it on the inner corner will just kind of pull everything together. And this is the completed makeup look. For lashes, I am wearing Iconic Lights, and for my lip color, I am wearing 115 Muss by 3 Concept Eyes. And this is the completed look. is going to conclude my video for today. I hope you guys did enjoy my review, my swatches, and also my demo. If you did enjoy everything and found it helpful, please give this video a thumbs up for me. I would love to know your opinion on this palette. Do you guys agree with me, or do you guys love this palette? I would love to know your opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!